Now the details. The economic management team of this administration is set to embark on its first public engagement tomorrow. But as this team works to undertake this activity, one would want to get some deep understanding of the workings and composition. There's more in this report.
The team can be described as the highest economic decision-making body of this administration and often has the final say on any economic program or policy before cabinet approves it. The team is chaired by Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Other members include the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, Energy Minister John Peter Amewu, Trade Minister Alan Kyerematen, the Agric Minister Dr. Usu-Efri Akoto, Professor George Bafo, Dr. Anthony Akoto-Osei, Prof. Joao Makutufo, who is the secretary to the committee. According to government, it is critical that Ghanaians appreciate the workings of this team, and therefore they are hoping to use tomorrow's engagement to highlight what they actually do, as well as address some lingering questions about the economy.
Now, Ghana today ends its 4-year fund program with the International Monetary Fund. This was after it passed the 7th and 8th review carried out by staff of the fund. The board of the fund is expected to sign off the necessary documents to aid exit of the program. George Wiafe has more on how things are going to look like after today.
Completing the program now could mean that government may no longer be under some strict conditionalities as to how it manages the economy. However, the IMF, through its Article 4 consultations, could still impact decisions and actions of investors in this economy. But for many, the $1 million question is whether we can maintain full fiscal discipline after this program. Ken Ofori-Atta is Finance Minister.
You know what we have done at the end of last year, we passed the Fiscal Responsibility Act, which in a sense sort of constrained the budget deficit to 5%, and also to ensure a positive primary balance. And then there will be a censure on the Minister of Finance in the event of a breach. And I think that's as far as any sort of law has gone in our history. Then secondly, we also set up the Financial Stability Advisory Council and then the Fiscal Council, which is headed by Dr. Akwa, former governor. The expectation of all of this is to ensure that we are consistently on top of the macroeconomics of the country and making sure that we work within the budget that Parliament would have approved.
The country in 2015 signed up for the extended credit facility to help restore policy credibility, reduce the country's rising debt, and put it on the path to growth. But as
Sincere apologies for that abrupt end of the story. Now, moving on, over the past few weeks, the cedi's fluctuation against other major international trading currencies has been the subject for discussion in the business community. My colleague Charles Aite has been on the ground speaking to some captains of industry and has put all into this perspective in this report.
Now, as Ghanaians embark on their daily routines, one thing that, of course, remains setting on their minds is the performance of the cedi. I have been engaging the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, to help us understand the outlook of the cedi and the perspective from traders alike.
We have some losses to recoup, and if we are not being able to do all that, we factor the losses that we've made in the past into our present pricing, unless this thing is sustained, and then in future, if we are buying again and then the price is the rate is lower, then of course this comes so natural.
We got in touch as well with that of the Food and Beverage Association, where the General Secretary, Samuel Agri, tells me that the situation regarding the cedi could cause price build-ups in the future.
People would have loved to have a stable currency to enable us also have long-term projections in doing our calculations and all that. profit. Otherwise, what it means is that your investment keep on depreciating over the years. And if nothing is done about it, then obviously it's going to create more problem for the investor.
Because whenever the city falls, it affects everything, from what you eat to the dresses that you wear to even the transactions that you engage in. As it stands now, the business community in Ghana is very much aware of situations at hand, very positive in that sense. I'm Charles Aite for Joy Business.
This is on the marketplace today. Back to the studio. Some customers of Men's Gold today have been picketing at the offices of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, YOCO, in Accra. My colleague Emefa Jadosi has been following them and has joined me in the studio now to give us some more updates. Emefa, you're welcome to the marketplace.
Thank you.
So what's actually happened at the YOCO office?
Right, so today their main purpose was to go to YOCO to demand that YOCO publishes its accounts, the accounts that were frozen by YOCO.
NAM1's account.
NAM1's account. In fact, Men's Gold accounts that were frozen by YOCO. They wanted YOCO to come public to tell us how much exactly is in the account, and also to publish the total number of assets and to quantify in value terms how much those assets that have been seized by YOCO will cost. And so those were their top priorities. That's the reason why they went to YOCO.
Why would they need such information? I mean, for what purpose?
Great. So when I interacted with some of the customers, in fact, the leadership of the customers, they tell me that they had information that the customers, in fact, the YOCO has started giving out some of the properties out. In fact, they tell me that some government officials just walk into the office of YOCO and just demand that, you know, they need some of their properties, and so they come in, for instance, for the cars and they drive the cars away. So they wanted YOCO to publish the total number of assets they've been able to gather from the properties that NAM1 has. And so that's the main reason why they went. So they converged.
What was the response from YOCO?
Great. So they met in front of YOCO.
Okay.
And YOCO, the officials of YOCO demanded that 5 of them follow them to have a discussion and meeting in their office. Okay. So they went. They came back an hour after and they announced that YOCO says its sole mandate in all of this Men's Gold situation is to protect the properties of NAM1. So YOCO says it is not investigating the matter. It is not supposed to publish any account details. Neither is it supposed to publish how many assets they have been able to see so far. Their only mandate is that they are going to protect the properties of NAM1. And the customers obviously were not happy with this development, because they say that they wanted their monies back, and now you are telling them that the only mandate for you is to protect them. But one thing that YOCO said was that until NAM1 comes back to Ghana and is unable to pay customers, that is the only time that the Attorney General will be able to start the process of liquidating the assets that have been protected by YOCO.
Okay.
So until NAM1 is back and is unable to pay them, that is the only time they would pay the customers. Do
you have any idea when NAM1 is coming back?
As it stands, because government, the police had a press conference today to say that NAM1 was released on bail on the 25th of March and has been rearrested. Okay. For now, we cannot say when he will be back. But the customers that we're speaking to, if you get to interact with them, you realize that they are going through a lot of pain and a lot of emotional torture. I remember I met one woman who spoke to me 8 months ago and was even asking me how much multimedia pays me. I met her today and she was rolling on the floor crying, and all because she says her children have now dropped out of school. And so the stories of these Men's Gold customers continue to pour out.
That's really unfortunate. But what was the situation? Was it chaotic? You know, like previous agitations that they have in the past?
No, in fact, this was a very peaceful picketing. So even the Mr. Daniel Entry, who is the deputy director for YOCO, came out to say that he's very impressed with how these customers had conducted themselves. They only picketed. They didn't destroy any property, just singing, dancing, and making noise, and that's it.
And did they show the way forward, after this particular...
So now the only thing that the customers are saying, the leadership are saying, is that since YOCO says they have nothing to do, they are not going to give out the details that they need, they will be going to the Attorney General, because the Attorney General is supposed to take up the matter. So the Attorney General will be their next point of call, but they have petitioned a lot of the government agencies and none of them responded to them. So they are hoping that the next one would be fruitful.
Many thanks for your time. MFA Dosi is my colleague here who joined picketing of some customers of Men's Gold this morning at the offices of the Economic and Organized Crime Office. Meanwhile, Director General of the Ghana Securities and Exchange Commission, Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete, has disclosed that the Commission will not be able to guarantee the amount of funds from sale of assets of gold dealership firm Men's Gold. According to him, the assets of the company are being investigated but cannot assure customers of how much proceeds will be derived. Reverend Ogbami Tete made a comment at a press conference which was attended by my colleague Ebenezer Sabote, who will also update us shortly on the program. But before then, GN Savings has finalized an agreement with EcoBank as its partner bank. This was after the Bank of Ghana reclassified the institution as a savings and loans company. The deal would allow EcoBank to perform some functions on behalf of GN Bank, like check clearing and forex transactions. Eddie Botri is an executive director at EcoBank.
When you look at the banking crisis that occurred some few months ago, and the way other banks have, or other companies have handled it, and we look at the way you have transitioned and managed this. I think for us, this tells us that clearly this is a company that has a clear vision. This is a company that knows what the business is doing, and we are proud to be partners with you along this journey. EcoBank itself, we also come along with. We began at the smallest bank in Ghana. To the point where now we have the biggest bank in Ghana. And I think that the challenges that we also had along the way, and we have seen the progress that you have made. For us, that tells us that this is a partnership that is worth having. This is a partnership that, again, we truly value. So it is not just a transaction that we are looking at, but we are looking at a partnership that, as I said, would continue for better and for better. In the next 5-10 years, I either would find other ways to partner, would find other ways to work together. And we come to the table with a staff strength of 1,400 staff well committed to helping you along the journey. We come to the table with an IT platform that we believe is superior to what we find on the Ghanaian.
Meanwhile, President of Group Indum, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum, has also been commenting on the partnership between the two institutions.
Strengths that come from both sides. The value we can give is priceless. But if it's not used, it doesn't help anyone. So my only point is that it's good. We have this arrangement. It's important. It's a partnership, but it must be put to use with some discipline, and also with good concern for customer care.
This is live on the marketplace. Let's move back to our earlier story. And the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete, has disclosed the Commission will not be able to guarantee the amount of funds from the sale of assets of gold dealership firm Men's Gold. This was at a press conference held this morning. My colleague Ebenezer Sabote was there. He's joined us on phone to give us some more updates. Ebenezer, welcome to the marketplace.
Hey, Emmanuel.
All right, so what actually pertained or happened at the forum or the press conference today?
So at the press conference today, the Director General did indicate that, yes, Men's Gold is under investigation. They have seized their assets, which is, part of the work that is ongoing. And for now, they will not be able to tell us that they have this amount of assets from the company or not, because after the time, they requested for the company to give information on all its assets and then also the customers it works with. The company went to the court to, kind of give them, petition them on investigating them. So as of now, they cannot be able to give information on whether the assets that have been seized are truly of Men's Gold and then also the value of those assets. So if you're a customer of the bank, of the company, sorry, and you are expecting that Securities and Exchange Commission should tell you that you'll be getting this amount of money as a result of your investment, it is not going to happen because they are not in a position to tell that those assets are even true properties of the company.
All right, so if it is established that those assets actually belong to Mangold, now will they be in a position to actually trade in some of these shares on the capital markets or supervise the trading of the capital market?
That hasn't come to discussion, but what he was telling us is that investing in the company is taking a risk, and the higher the profit, the higher the risk. So whatever investment you are doing, the company should be regulated, but in this case, the company is not regulated. Because the company is not regulated by them, they don't have a hand on it. So even if at the end of the day, they come back to tell us that this is the amount of money Yoko or the Ghana police have sold the assets they've gotten from them, you cannot come to the Securities and Exchange Commission for any insurance because they don't regulate their company.
Thank you so much for that update, Ebenezer Sabote, updating us on a press conference today held at the Securities and Exchange Commission, where it was addressed by the Director General, Reverend Daniel Ubami Tete. Away from that, the country will reduce its reliance on gas and supply for power generation from Nigeria by the end of this month. This follows the ongoing interconnection works at the Atuabo gas processing facility by Ghana Gas, which has resulted in some intermittent power supply. According to the Deputy Minister of Energy, Oreku Edu, the ongoing works, when completed, will ensure that Ghana can fully rely on its own gas supply for generation of power.
The fuel is going to AXA, it's going to KTPP, they are generating. We have challenges. We're not shying away from that. But for a greater purpose, the hope is that once this shutdown is complete, we will be in a position to transport gas from the west, the Takoradi area, to Tema, where we have generators that require gas. They depend on gas from Nigeria. We've heard this severally, that gas from Nigeria is not coming, the pressure is low. Instead of 120 million scfs, we are getting only 30. After this, it's going to be a thing of the past because we have our own. If Nigeria gas that we need doesn't come, we have our own that we can reverse flow from Takoradi to Tema. So this, we have better times ahead. And that's what I told you guys earlier, that it is a difficulty that we're going through for just over a week. From what I'm hearing, even the contractors are saying that they can finish much earlier than the 12 days. But we are still.
Now, for many people who have never visited the vocational center in Takoradi, serving as an incubator producing artisans in the city, Kokompe is synonymous with crafts and noise, just as what pertains in Accra, Kumasi, or Takoradi. Now, artisans working in this hub are also considered uneducated. In this feature, correspondent Natalia Kwanza spends time knowing the real situation of Takoradi Kokompe in the Western region.
The light industrial area is popularly known as Kokompe. It was established some 30 years ago by three friends who were into fitting business. Following increasing activities in the harbour city then, meet Shaman Sapon, as he is affectionately called. He is the chairman of the Garages Association here at Kokompe.
They were scattered in Second Takoradi here, especially Takoradi town. And one can Ajikum, during a champion time, he called them, the three of them, and told them that they should see how the gutters and the buildings around, you know how our dirty oil will do that, and they compromised. Here, as we are seeing here now, was a very muddy place. So it took them about 4 months to reach where our office now. That was about 3 decades ago. Now I can tell you we are more than 3,000, which we are not government employees. We are self-employed.
Kokompe has indeed become an economic powerhouse that is attracting traders, banks, hospitals, and the largest industrial area in the Western region. John Lumege is a brake repairer here at Kokompe number 2. He has operated for 35 years. He tells me the job here is not as attractive as it was. He complains of how young ones have also refused to learn the job recently.
Now the work is going down. Like the trucks are plenty, but the workshops are also many. So the work is divided. Like before, you can get about 5 or 6 boys. But now I'm here alone with my younger brother. We are ready to train, but the boys are not coming. Now the only problem we are facing, and everybody wants to send the child to school.
Okay.
So the boys are not ready to train to learn the job. So everybody has seen. That's where Kokompe here. You see so many masters now, like our chairman. Previously, was running about 35 boys, but now there are about 3 boys in the shop.
Though many outsiders would ordinarily think jobs here are the sole reserved for men only, the story seems very different. I have met a mother of 4, Auntie Mary, as she is known here.
This car doesn't have a number, so I have to mix the paint using my hand. Usually, if it has a number, we would have used the computer to determine the appropriate color. Using the computer is more costly than the hand mixing.
Spraying here is also done by women. Janet Oko. She has been in this business since September 1999.
Yeah, me school JSS, me JSS. Mamma no nibi, nam papa nso nibi. Nti ma me decide there, me share the made me. No dem betum. Nti ma so na me gudo kakra na me benyimfo me ye premro pa. Che me nua no mo nkran de edwuma bia brema so be sia so betuma ye
Many have also referred to the people who work here as Koskul Ankofo, meaning uneducated. But Robert Kwansa, CEO of Kwansa Motor, thinks it is a wrong assumption.
You cannot say a dropout or somebody who is not educated that goes into automobile. That is not true. This is purely engineering work. It's purely engineering work, and if you are not educated, it will be difficult for you to detect the fault and other things. Although there are other, mechanics who haven't been to school, but they can repair vehicles.
In Athalia Kwansa, Joy Business.
And that will be it on the marketplace today. Many thanks for your company. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We are free. Have a good afternoon.